Today we're going to talk about social calibration and how to live your life in a way where you can really make an impact in your social life, in your finances, and in your health. And I want to share with you, and let's just kick this off just by greeting those that's joining us right now. Those that's on TikTok, a warm welcome to you. If you're watching this on YouTube, look, I'm so glad you've decided to come, because this channel is going to leave you feeling driven on a daily. We're going to be pumping out videos on a daily, so make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, because guys, look, we're just going to go from strength to strength. You can see a whole new setup, and this new setup is really going to be the setup for the month. We're going to have a little bit of a change of scene in the new month, so I really want you just to keep posted. All right, so let's talk about it. How do we go from being able to have a fulfilling life socially, a fulfilling life financially, a fulfilling life health-wise, just an overall balanced life? And I want to share a couple of scenarios with you that I think is really going to open your mind. So let's kick this off by, I remember when I was in the Navy, right? So my job description is a sonar operator. So what we do is, just to boil this down, we look for enemies underwater by using sonar operation technology, right? And one of the key things that we do as a sonar operator is we send out pings. Now, of course, we can't give too much information unless the opposition is watching this YouTube channel and checking it out. Don't worry. We'll do a little undercover action, okay? Those that's on TikTok, we'll do a little undercover action. So what we do is we send out pings, and that pings is essentially an indicator of what is in our environment. And don't worry, we're going somewhere with this. This is leading into the major lesson for today. So this pings that's being sent out essentially comes back, and whatever comes back is essentially the information that we're going to use to determine what's at the bottom. Got it? Boom. Simple. Similar to how we send out the pings. Now check this out. Similar to how we send out the pings as sonar operators to see what's in the environment, and then we calibrate thereafter. So we as humans operate as well. So what I mean by this, let's take a social circle. Let's take a socializing example. We as humans, wherever we go in a social environment, what we do unconsciously, subconsciously, what we do is we also ping. So for example, I meet Susie, or rather, I meet Johnny, right? And when I meet Johnny, immediately there's a social ping that is happening right now. We are pinging off each other. Now, whether this is in a good way or a bad way, it will all determine by the vibe. Have you ever noticed when somebody says, you know, when I met that person, the vibe was just off, right? And that was because you sent out a ping, that person sent out a ping, and the response and the reaction that you got from the ping was like, ah. Now, whether we know this, and check this out, whether we know this, we are all sending out pings. Now, the ping that we typically send out is essentially what is happening on the inside, right? You might have just, as an extreme example, but it proves the point, you might just broke up with your girlfriend, for example, and it has been devastating. And your friends say, you know what, Randall, you just broke up with your girlfriend. Let's go out, you know, to the lounge tonight, and let's just socialize and just de-stress, right? Depending on how I am, I can either be, you know what, nah, I don't feel like going out, but I'm going to go anyways. And now I'm at the lounge. I'm all shoulders forward, head down. I'm all sad. What's going to happen is I'm going to incur and encounter people, whether it's strangers or whether it's my own peer group, and they're going to feel the ping that is being sent out. So they're going to ask me, hey, Randall, would you like a drink? And I'm going to say, nah. And they're going to feel that ping. You know what I mean, right? Point being, the ping that we send out is really going to be almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, I don't know what state you are in right now in your own life. I don't know what happened or what is happening currently in your own life. Maybe something tragic has happened, something emotionally traumatic, right? And of course, wherever we are in our lives right now, we need to go through it, right? I'm not saying we need to just negate what's happening and put on a front and just fake it till you make it. We need to go through what we're going through. However, if you are someone right now that is not going through anything emotionally traumatic, maybe you're just going through the motions, maybe you just lost your vigor and your passion for life. I want to remind you on this video that you are sending out a ping, and this is the danger. This is the danger of not being aware of the frequency that you are sending out. The self-fulfilling prophecy is this. You feeling sad, people feel that sad ping from you. They treat you accordingly. Therefore, you feel more sad. They get the ping from you. They treat you accordingly. You feel more sad. Think about it now. Think about it. If you are someone that is, let's take again the social setup, right? If you are someone that's not confident, right? Let's say you are someone that is not confident and you have social anxiety and you go out, and this has been something that I've noticed over the years, especially with women. Women have a natural social acuity where their social IQ is really on a level very instinctively compared to the male species, right? And especially if you're a single guy right now and you are someone that's maybe socially awkward, and you are in a state of where you're nervous when you go out. Woman is going to detect that immediately, and now you're wondering, why am I still so single? It's because of that ping that you've been sending out. Now let me help you on this one. Can I help you on this one? Let me just check the TikTok there. Welcome to everyone on TikTok. Now, let's get straight to business. Straight to business right now. Before you leave the house, okay? Before you leave the house, before you enter into a social setting. So for example, let's say there's a massive gathering in a room. Let's make this very simple. There's a massive gathering in a room, right? And you're about to go into that room. Maybe it's a networking event that's happening. You're about to go into that room. I want you to do this. I want you to ask the question and ask yourself this question. How am I feeling right now? Why? Because how you feel, they're going to feel. The law of state transfer. How you feel, others feel. And when you ask yourself that question, like, how am I feeling right now inside? And if you discover that you are currently feeling anxious, you're feeling tense, you're feeling stiff, you're feeling like, you know what, I don't want to be here. I don't want you to enter the room. I want you to do the following. And the following is, I want you to get out of your head. You see, our brains, I want to make two distinctions right now. The distinction between your brain and the distinction between your heart, right? Your brain has been set up for survival, has been set up for comfort. Yeah? So, for example, your brain never wants to experience, especially if you haven't trained it and had a lot of experience with it, your brain never wants to be put in a situation where it's awkward or feel tense. So when I say get out of your head, what I mean by this is getting out of your head is then you say, Randall, if I must get out of my head, where do I go? Where do I go? Well, instead of going in your head, I want you to go into your senses. Into your senses. And this is what meditation teaches you. Meditation teaches you to really be one with your environment. So, smelling what's in the air. Touching, just becoming aware what's around you. You know, listening to the ocean right now. A little bit of traffic. This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a dog bark. I see the blue ocean. I see a red couch. You see, when I do that, I then get out of my head, because when I'm in my head, I'm thinking of possible scenarios that will go wrong. This is essentially what's happening inside your head. So what we are saying is get outside your head. Outside. And the way of doing that is getting into your senses. So feeling the seat where you are sitting on right now. It's similar to kids. Similar to kids. You ask them a question, they would say the first thing that comes out of their mouth. Why? Because they're not trapped in their head. You know, and that's why they make us laugh, because it's like, it's so absurd what they just said, right? So, and as a kid, as you go up and as you go through things, and when life throws its challenges, it puts you more and more and more in your head. That's why many of us, when we are in a social environment, we need to have a little bit of a drink. Or we have to have a joint wherever we go. Why? Because if we don't do it, then we're in our head. And the wine relaxes you. And it essentially makes you, it liberates you. It almost makes you loose. And you know, that's kind of the general theme. You know, when I have a little wine, I'm let loose. Now, like for myself personally, of course, I've drunk in the past, but I've decided no more drinking. It just has such a ripple effect in my life personally. If you do it, that's your prerogative. No judgment here. If you need to do it, boom, you do it. But I've kind of realized for myself, if I can have the same good time without alcohol that I do with alcohol, imagine being able to be so loose, being able to free associate, be able to be almost like in a, you know, those improvise, the English, almost run out now, You know those improv classes, right? Where people just say things on the fly, they just do things based off what other people say. That's essentially the way I envision when somebody's drunk, they just say what they do, they just do what they want to do, but doing that completely stone cold sober. Wouldn't you like that? Wouldn't you like to be able to not depend on alcohol? You know, not being able to depend on a vice. So where were we going with this? The same way alcohol gives you that liberty and makes you feel a rather temporary form of liberty. It's not a true liberty. Anything that gives you immediate pleasure, a short-term pleasure, short-term gain, but has a long-term effect, that is essentially something you need to watch out for. And I'm just taking a little bit of a detour here because we sometimes willingly forget that the alcohol, the joint, is giving us a short-term burst of confidence, but it's slowly but surely chipping away from our natural state, right? And if you find yourself in this situation now where you relying on a substance, I would encourage you to really consider, slowly but surely weaning off and being able to do this stone cold sober. Because imagine, what's going to happen is when you are completely sober, right, and you don't depend on a drink to socialize freely, you're then going to be able to take that same ability that you have at night times when you socialize. You're going to take it in, number one, to your daytime setting, where you can just be a jolly person naturally in the daytime. And also, you can also take that same skill. And this is so important because this has resulted in myself landing many, number one, high profile connections, but also business deals too, based on socializing and being able to socialize without alcohol. It straight up, and I'm definitely going to do a separate video on this, it allows you to really progress, especially when it comes to the networking aspect. But not just that, it also helps with your self-esteem. It also helps with your confidence. Why? Because when you have multiple reference experiences, and just a big shout out to those that's joining here on TikTok, and thanks for the likes over there. I'm not sure who that is. Is that Joanne liking? Major salute to you, Joanne. To all the others that's joining in as well. When you are able to have so many multiple reference experiences, and what I mean by this is, let's take this for example. Wherever you go, maybe you are like this right now. In the daytime, you go to a coffee shop and you go to the barista in the front, and immediately she asks, hey, how you doing? How can I help? And then you give your order. Can I have a fracca, mata, japa, boom, macchiato on the house and on the rocks? She is like, okay, boom, boom, $7.99, boom, boom, end of conversation. Maybe that's you right now, where you just get straight to the point. I want to encourage you to do this. When you are out and about, and let's say you go to the same coffee shop, and she asks, hey, how's it going? What would you like to order? Instead of just giving your order, ask the barista, hey, how are you doing? How's your day today? She would probably be like, sure, nobody really asks me that. Oh, my day's going really well. But of course, genuinely asking the person on the other side, genuinely. And asking them, how's it going? And maybe you as a guy watching this right now, maybe you are single, right? And you ask the barista how she's doing, and you never know what comes out of that. Maybe she's like, hey, I like this guy's vibe, You never know what comes out of situations where you are just fully present in the moment. You are out of your head. You are in your senses. The person can feel immediately there's something different about this person because there's just a different vibe. You know what I mean? Point being, let's get out of our heads. And I know life comes and life gives so many challenges, and those challenges are essentially wanting to put you more in your head by overthinking, by thinking about different ways of getting out of it. And it's just this constant downward spiral of just feeling negative. And what we are essentially saying is, get out of your head. Get out of your head, for goodness. Get out and get in your senses. Because I tell you what, the upward spiral is going to begin when you do this. I don't know what time it is wherever you are right now, but wherever you are, I want to encourage you tonight. I'm going to be hanging out with a couple of folks tonight, and tonight I want you to get out of your head. Get out of your head. Stop thinking about what's happening currently in your life, and I want you to get into your senses. Imagine, and this is my desire, especially with doing content like this. My desire is that you might walk around in your life with so much confidence, so much love in your heart that it overflows. And wherever you go, people can just feel this person doesn't need anything from me. This person is so in abundance. I want to be part of whatever this person is up to. Whatever this person is up to, I want to be part of. It's almost like when you go to a social circle and you see a group of people in the corner and they're having such a good time. They're laughing, they're having a good time, they're chatting, they're just having a ball. And all of a sudden you find yourself gravitating towards that side over there, as opposed to yourself all in your head, all nervous, standing maybe with your drink, and you see someone come by, or you go to a group of people and it's like, hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from? What are you doing here? Immediately people can feel, look, one piece of nugget that has really been a pillar in myself, especially when it comes to socializing. And I've learned this from one of the gurus here in the self-development space. The guru said, and I want you to catch this, really catch this. Are you going to catch it? I see it over there. I see it over there on TikTok. It's not what happens. It's not what happens in the interaction so much as what happens in between the interactions. Let me say that again. It's not what happens in the interaction that is so much important as what happens in between the interactions. So, for example, you can't be someone, and I see people do this because, especially when I was back home in South Africa, I used to be part of the radio station DJing, and we used to go out to the nightlife scene, and we used to do, some of the promos, and I could see it. And also over here where I'm at, here in Canada, you can see it. People are sitting, for example, there will be a guy, he's sitting with his drink, and he's sitting like this, and he looks up and he sees someone that he admires, right? Someone that he likes, someone that catches his eye, and he sees this person, and all of a sudden the person walks by and he's sitting like this, and then immediately going from a cold person into a boom, hey, how's it going? What's your name? That person, 99.9.9.8% of the time, is going to get freaked out. Why? Because it's not what happens necessarily in the conversation, but it's what happens in between. So we cannot be sitting like this and almost like a puppet just immediately go into a social flow. It's what happens in between. So, for example, the moment you step into a venue, right? The moment you step out of your home. Now this, I'm talking especially to those that are a little socially anxious. No? This is for you that's socially anxious. And I've been there. And this is how I immediately changed my state into get into a flow to be able to socialize and not be weird, man. you know? So the moment you step out of the house, immediately, whoever you see, whoever you come across, whether it's an old granny or a grandpa or a little dog or whoever it is, make small talk immediately. Yeah, my camera is on like 5%. Ish, the battery just went, eh? But we're back and we're live again. Awesome stuff to those that's on TikTok right now. Major salute to you for sticking out. All those, for Joanne, for Mandy, for Algie, for Timu, for everyone that's here. Look, so we were talking about social anxiety, right? And going into a social environment. And gotta put that music off there. So let's just focus again and let's just come back to where we were. Going into a social environment, it really, and we're talking about the law of state transfer and how you feel, somebody else is going to feel. And the purpose of this video is really to, number one, get you mindful of the fact that the law of state transfer is so real. And we spoke about how humans in general, but I know women especially, they are super sensitive to the emotions of others. It's almost like they can sense if somebody's vibe is off, and this is just a weird vibe altogether, right? So number one, just be very mindful that your internal impacts your external in a major, major, major way. So I was also sharing with us how your external and how your vibe and your social ability not just helps you to meet people or meet a partner, but also how it helps you to meet people that really would elevate your life as a person. Networking with individuals that really can open doors for you. You know, many times we sometimes get in our own way where we think, I don't need anyone, or I don't need to talk to that person, or you know what, I'm not going to waste my time socializing or doing this or interacting with people. That shoots you in the foot because you never know what comes out of an interaction. Especially when it comes to someone you think may not have any quote-unquote value to offer you in return. You don't know who this person meets or who this person knows, right? Especially when it comes to the opposite gender, males and females, and how people would say, you know what, we can't be friends. Males and females shouldn't be friends. And for me, that is such a narrow way of thinking. Do you think, and let's just think about this practically, do you think God has made men and women, God has made us as human beings on this earth not to interact with one another, not to, and only to interact with one another in a limited scope? Think about this right now. Our Creator has made human beings, and we are saying now, we can't associate with this person. We can only associate with this person on a limited scale. If this person gives me, some boom boom action, that's all that I want from this person. And you sit and you think, really? Are you really going to limit? If I meet someone right now, maybe I meet someone, her name is Tiffany, and shout out to all the Tiffany's out there. I meet Tiffany, and I don't like her because, necessarily physically, romantically, it's not really my type, Tiffany. But I don't know if Tiffany maybe has a friend, or Tiffany has a sister or a cousin, or Tiffany knows a males, high network individuals that may have, you know what I mean? So let's broaden our, number one, the second part of this, let's broaden our thinking when it comes to who we interact with and who we engage with. I always go back to us as kids. Us as kids, we are so carefree. We can learn so much from kids. And as we grow up, it's almost like we become so finite in our thinking, especially when it comes to how we interact with others. You know? Let's become like a kid again. Let's become like a kid again where we are just free. We are just free. And for me, this is, like, for example, me doing this video right now, right? It puts me in a state, it puts me in a talkative state, which is now going to flow into my night. You see where I'm going with this? Now my night is going to turn out to be, and I don't know if it's going to turn out to be great, but I just know because I did what I had to do. Number one, I checked off the to-do list today to do a video. We're doing it right now. As we're doing the video, we're putting ourselves in, I'm putting myself in such a flow state where I'm not going to go outside or to the lounge or wherever feeling, one second, yeah? Speaking about, you know, you always need to always charge your phone. Hey, it doesn't matter if you're doing a YouTube video, you got to charge your phone. Hey, there we go. So I'm going to go out here and I'm going to feel so flowy. I'm going to feel so free in my thinking. Why? Because doing this right now, like me talking to you in this camera, of course, I've got a general idea of what I'm going to talk about. But when I'm sitting down on this chair and I'm chatting to you right now, it's flowing to the point of where I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. It's just coming out of my mouth. It's almost like preachers, right? Certain preachers can just preach without notes. Why? Because the word is embedded in their heart and they are so in the present moment that they can feel what the audience and what the congregation needs at this moment. And similar to myself right now, where we talk, it's like I'm not thinking 3 steps ahead of what I'm going to say. And many people might look at this and say, Randall, no, man, don't do that. Like, prepare something, have something systemized, or now maybe when it comes to a paid course, a paid video course is perhaps something I'm definitely going to do where it will be systemized, it will be very structured. But with like a free flow conversation like this, a free flow video like this allows me, and check this out, and I'm saying this because this is helping you too, and just when you hear me talk about things that I'm doing, and I know you're doing this, think about your own life right now and how it applies to your own life. When I'm doing videos like this, free-flowing videos like this, you can just imagine if I talk like this for an hour on camera without any notes, with things just, you know, in my spirit right now, which I feel I need to share with you, with nuggets of things that I've learned along the way that's buried in my subconscious and it's just flowing out. You can just imagine how this transfers and translates into a social environment. Or when it comes to a situation where I need to speak in public, whether it's to an audience or to a group of people or to one person. You can imagine if I do a video every day, check this out. If I do a video every day for an hour speaking like this, I think it was Malcolm Gladwell that spoke about the 10,000 hours. I just need to clarify, I need to just, you know, if you know the book of the 10,000 hours, and he says essentially when you do something for 10,000 hours, you consider an expert in it. And my goal is to really become an expert in this. You know, I remember when I was a kid, I told my dad, because my dad, of course, my dad's a pastor, right? And he used to watch a lot of Miles Monroe. He's a rest in peace, Miles Monroe. He's a preacher that was in the Bahamas. He unfortunately passed away, and he used to watch a lot of Miles Monroe, right? And when I was a kid, I used to also watch it with him. And in my naive brain, and I think this was just years of conditioning, watching my dad on stage and watching him, watching preachers, I told my dad, you know what, one day, and I was probably, I don't know how old I was, it had to be under 10 years old, and I said, Dad, one day when I grow up, in my small voice, Dad, when I grow up, one day I want to become, I don't know why I was saying this, but I said it, I want to become a high-class, international, motivational speaker. And as the years progressed, I stuck. It was still a passion of mine to become that, right? And now with social media and being able to talk to a camera, I may not have 1,000 people watching me in person, but 1,000 people online is going to be watching this eventually. And for me, doing this over and over and over again, it's going to translate from doing this right here into every area of my life, straight up. Promotions that I had at work when I used to work at the bank. So I used to work when I first came to Canada. I did a multitude of jobs, and one of the jobs I did when I first came was in a contact center, right? No. Yes, that was someone over there. In a contact center, it was kind of weird. In a contact center, right? And I'm in my cubicle, and across from me it was my senior manager, right? So of course I had a manager and then a senior manager. And I'm on the phones and I'm chopping it up with the customers, and I think I was in customer service and sales, because we had to service the customer when they call inbound. And then we'd also have to sell them after we've given them exceptional service, right? And I would have so much fun with my customers that my senior manager, I could hear, and I was being aspris also. I was intentionally also having a great time, because I knew that if she hears what I was saying and how much I was interacting and giving service to the customer, it's going to leave a good impression, right? And essentially from there, she offered me a role to, so I went from a person on the phones immediately to someone, the next role was a vendor manager. So the vendor manager was essentially someone that went from the bank to a third-party vendor that is doing the same work, but on behalf of Scotiabank or on behalf of the bank, right? So it would almost be like a company in the US, and one of their vendors is maybe a company in the Philippines. And so essentially it would be like you would go from the company to the US, and you would be the person that goes to the Philippines, for example, and make sure that people in the Philippines are following the rules and regulations, training and coaching, etc. So you're kind of like the middleman, right? So from on the phones to there. Why? Because of the principles that I was sharing with you in this video, where I was not stuck in my head, where I was completely present with the customer on the phone, where my physiology was totally relaxed, was open, was not closed off. Of course, there were days when I had my moments, but for the most part, the impression that was left was, you know what, this person, I don't know, there's something about this person where they just ultra confident. And that is because you follow the principles that we are talking about in this video, where you are in this talkative state. We also spoke about a principle in this video of it's not what happens in the interaction, but what happens in between. So for example, when I was on the phones, after a conversation that I had with a customer, we would chop it up with our buddy next door to us. We would, we would laugh. I remember my one friend, he smoked a little weed, right? And of course, he used to smoke weed in between breaks and stuff. And when he smokes weed, he laughs a lot and he gets very jokey, right? Now, the law of state transfer also says, like it says, whatever they feel, you feel. And when he came back on the phones and in between conversations, we would laugh our asses off because just for random nonsense, I would laugh because he's just laughing right now and he's laughing so hard that it makes me laugh so hard. And I'm laughing, he's laughing because I'm laughing because he's laughing. And we take that same energy into the conversations with the customer. For sure, the customer's going to feel that same vibe too. It's then going to translate into a great experience. And whether or not we can help the customer can kind of feel over the phone, wow, this person is such a positive individual. You know, they couldn't really help, but it left me as a customer feeling so, you know what I mean? So you can see that getting over social anxiety, being able to socialize with others, using the principles of getting out of your own head, getting into your body, getting into your senses, making sure that you understand the law of state transfer, whatever you feel, they feel, and being aware of that has such a ripple effect in every area of your life. In your finances, business deals you're going to make, the networking opportunities that you can make out of this. Especially with people that are wealthy. You typically, like for example, let's say I meet a millionaire or a multi-millionaire, tens to hundreds of millions of dollars. I meet someone that is super wealthy. My value to that person cannot be money. That person has it all. It cannot be a gift. Why that person can buy whatever that person can buy for him or herself. But what I can offer that person, and same to you, what you can offer somebody with a major wealth is a good experience. In other words, a good feeling. Why? Because that person, that multimillionaire, on a regular basis is being bombarded by people that just want something from him. That just wants to take, taking energy. But what we're talking about here is a giving energy where you come to that person and without even saying it, that person can feel it off you. Like, no, I'm not. That person can feel, wow, this person is not here to take. I can feel like this person is here just to give value, Like, I don't need your money. I don't need what you have. Because I know that what I have is valuable. And what that is just an abundance of good, positive emotions. You feel me? So with all these concepts that we spoke about today, maybe it's the first time you've heard about some of the concepts. Maybe you've heard it before. I want to encourage you, make it your mission. And we're about to close off now. Make it your mission to really gain momentum when it comes to how you control your own emotions. You see, when you are no longer at the effect, but you are at the cause, this is where you see things change in your life. Where you move in an environment and you're no longer so easily affected by people, by things that happen, but you are actually now at the cause, you know? And the way you do this is really by practicing every single day. Every day, whenever you go out, I want you to make it a mission to not just have a simple one-liner conversation with people that you meet. I want you to push that boundary, go deeper. Of course, use social awareness and use tact. But when you buy that coffee at the barista, ask someone at the cashier, how's your day going? You know, you look like you're having a great day. One of my lines is always, you seem very happy today. And even if that person is not happy, maybe that person is just neutral, I like to speak things and just assume it because it catches them off guard. They will think, oh, am I happy today? And if I'm not, let me just be happy right now because I cannot look like I'm not happy. And all of a sudden, that person is now in a happy state. So make it a mission every day to really strengthen that emotional muscle of yours, being at the cause and not at the effect. Because once you can master this, people will feel it. People will feel and people will gravitate towards you because now all of a sudden you are so firm in who you are, you know? Like, for example, I know this is very outlandish, wearing a flower shirt. I cannot wear this shirt if I am unsure of myself or unconfident or second guessing. Why? Because all of a sudden people's gonna make fun of me because they can feel, this person is a little shaky. There's something here about this person that's not solidified, solid. When you wear something outlandish, you've got to be certain about it. You know, I've got to walk with so much swag. Like, for example, if you're someone that's bold, you can't afford to be unsure of yourself. You know, whatever deficiency you might have, you know, whether it is teeth that is crooked, or whether it is blemishes in your face, or whether it is you don't have as much possessions that other people might have. What you need, and you know, you got to choose your struggle. You got to choose your struggle. You can't have that and also be someone that is unsure and uncertain. What you can work on, yes, I can get a hair transplant. I don't want to do that. I want to rock this bald head. I want people to be able, when I go out, when people look at me going out, I want people to actually wish they had a bald head because of how I'm rocking it. Like, for example, if you are someone that maybe you are someone that's very short, right? I want you to rock out to a venue and outside so confident that even a 6'5" person might feel, my battery's running out now, I gotta wrap this up. That 6'5" person should feel, I wish I was 5'4" or 5'2", just based on how confident that person. They must feel so insecure about themselves watching you that has the quote-unquote deficiency. You see what I'm saying? This is going to transform your life. I really want you to take this message to heart. This is your time to really become the most confident version of yourself. Take these concepts to heart. Watch this video again. Share the Know that this is really meant to uplift your spirit. This is really meant to make you even more solid in who you are as a person. Remember, like we always say, and we're going to wrap up now, we are not here just to survive. We are here to thrive. And hey, I can't wait to see you on the next video. Ons praat weer, mense. Ons sien mekaar op TikTok. Otherwise, let's go, baby. Peace.